Hello, hello, hello. Let me know if you can hear me okay. It is Hypno News World Live, Hypno World News, whatever it's called. It is this. Let me just check. We've got audio and everything is good. I'm flying solo at the moment because Jim is actually stuck in traffic where his cat is on the way back from the vets. So if you can see and hear me, then do let me know in the comment section. But please share some love for Jim's cat, who is currently having his nuggets removed, and so yeah, it's a delicate operation. So let me just see if I can. Are we live? Are we live? And can we hear me? We're live somewhere. So yeah, let me know if the audio is good. We've got an absolutely fantastic guest for you tonight. It is going to be a fun one, as it always is. He's going to be joining us at the and there's the Pacific Northwest Conference. Then that's another one. He's going to be joining us at the Performing Hypnosis Summit. There we go. Oh, fantastic! Sean can hear us in Canada. Sean, how is the weather out there? How are you? How is everything going? It's yeah. I should have Sean on here instead of Jim. So yeah. So let's go through a couple of the housekeeping things. Obviously, we are days away from the Performing Hypnosis Summit. We will be talking about that. In April, coming up is the Heartlands Hypnosis Conference. This is a really nice conference. William, who runs it, is a great guy. Is a minister as well, which is really cool. But he puts on a good show. Yeah, so that's always great fun. Speaker submissions are closed for that now, but that is great. Dennis Ridgway's in the house. Sean says weather is improving. Send me a link and I'll jump in. Do you know what, Sean? We'll get you to jump in as well. 1 second. I like this multitasking. I'm multitasking as well, boys and girls, without my contact lenses. So if this doesn't go awry, then nothing will. Sean. Sean, I've just put that in the PHS planning one, so feel free to jump in. So yes, a great guest coming up about that as well. There is a couple of conferences coming up after the PHS, one being the Blackpool Magic Convention is the week after that here in the UK, which is the biggest magic convention in the world. And our guest today, Alex, will be there as well. And I'm sure he might mention as well, he's doing a fantastic tribute to a good friend of his as well. We've got the Pacific Northwest Conference coming up later on. And coming up very soon, we have the, let me just get this. I love the name of this one, Hypnoticon. This is Jason Lynette's and Richard Nongard's conference, which is going to be really cool. So let's bring Sean on. Sean, how are you?
Hey, good evening. Can you hear me?
I can hear you absolutely perfectly. Thank you for being the stand-in Jim tonight.
Well, people say that I'm a much shorter, more compact version of him. So
yes, yeah, Jim 2.0, more refined. There we go. And then there's also the Solid Gold Conference coming up as well. That's in Las Vegas as well. So yeah, so there's some great conferences coming up. But speaking of great conferences, and I'm going to say next to them a little bit biased, but that's the Pacific Northwest Conference. Why do I keep calling it that? It's what happens when I'm tired. It's the Performing Hypnosis Summit. Which
what time is it there, Grant?
Yeah, it's 1 a.m. And our guest today is probably going through the same as me, but he's probably more awake than me. So without further ado, let's bring him on. If you have any questions for Alex, please do drop them in the comment section. This guy's an absolute font of knowledge, and he's going to be delivering some great stuff at the Performing Hypnosis Summit. So yeah, make him feel very, very welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, there he is, the man himself.
Hello there. I just mentioned that somebody I see in the comments has gone, I can't hear anything. Am I the only one?
Oh, that's
yes. They may not.
I know that when I get it on my phone, because obviously I'm speaking to you on the laptop now, but if I go on my phone, I will just very quickly.
We've got audio here.
Let me say something.
Yeah.
I would rejoin if
Yeah, we're all good there. Joseph Crown.
You might need to click your speaker if your settings are wrong or something. It might need that.
Turn your hearing aid up.
Anyway, we'll let them sort their sound out. Yes. Good evening, gentlemen, or good morning, afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Obviously.
Well, if we'd have known it was going to be me and you, Alex, we could have done it at our time. We probably you either could have come here or I could have come to your house. We're only 20 minutes, half an hour away from each other.
However, then the people in America may not necessarily have joined us live. You know, it's
exactly.
Swings and roundabouts, isn't it? You know.
Absolutely. There we go.
We do tend to like our sleep.
So Joseph says captions working, but audio not. Definitely.
Chuck's confirmed that he can hear us.
Yeah. Nothing beats getting engagement on a live stream than someone's audio not being right. Everybody jumps in. So, Alex, tell us what to expect.
Well, it's going to upset a lot of people. Saturday of the Performing Hypnosis Conference. Now, unfortunately, this year, because I've got my ongoing legal cases, I can't make it out to Vegas in person, but I will be there next year. For those people thinking, what's he mean, legal cases? Well, the very short, in a nutshell, is that we are into the 26th year. Yes, 2 and 6, 26. 26 year of me having a long-term legal battle, ultimately with one of the world's biggest media moguls, Rupert Murdoch. So it doesn't really matter where you are in the world, you've probably heard of Rupert Murdoch. And I now have a trial date of January next year to be part of a kind of class action where if it goes to court, hopefully they'll settle before then out of court. But if it does go to court, I'll be in court alongside the Duke of Sussex, Prince Harry, British pop star Talisa Kontos-Stavlos, and a whole bunch of other people who are far more famous than I currently am, because my star really shone in the world media in the 90s. Before all this happened, where I ultimately, in a nutshell, attempted to expose the dishonest and unethical techniques of Rupert Murdoch's fake sheikh Mazza Mahmood. Unbeknownst to me at that time, it turns out that it wasn't just dishonest and unethical techniques they were using. They were using blatantly illegal techniques, including drugging people without their knowledge or consent, hacking their phones, using private investigators, using social engineering, planting contraband on them, and blatantly perjuring themselves in court to create malicious prosecutions against people, which is what happened to me, resulting in a prison sentence, which is part of an ongoing appeal, which it's going to take sort of probably till January next year to get settled either in court or out of court, whichever the case may be. And then I will be there with you next year. But for this year's Performing Hypnosis Conference, it's going to have to be like last year, with you via Zoom on the Saturday at, off the top of my head, 2:00 in the afternoon, Las Vegas time, until 3:50 p.m., which for people in England is 10:00 in the evening until 11:50 p.m. in the evening. And basically, what I will say is this. If you want to be guaranteed, and this is no offense or dig at Grant or Jim or the wonderful thing of computers or software, but if you want to be 1,000,000% guaranteed to learn from what I'm going to be sharing, then your only way is going to be on Zoom at 10:00 United Kingdom time till 11:50 p.m. on the Saturday, which is 2 p.m. till 3:50 Las Vegas time. Because who knows, a glitch might occur. Hopefully it won't. Last year there was a glitch with recording. So the only guaranteed way is to be there for that talk. Now, and I guarantee you, as egotistical and arrogant as this is going to sound, it will be the most useful talk of the entire event, guaranteed, if you actually show up. It will upset you. It will massively upset a lot of you, because we will be, with the help of video footage of TV shows that you can't find online because the stuff that predates the internet, as it were. Because I say my star shone really from 1990 till just before 2000 is when I was doing hundreds of TV shows around the world, getting front page and massive double page spreads with A-list celebrities. I was at the top of the industry from a general public knowing my point of view. And I will be using some of that footage to illustrate the lessons that I will be sharing that will include the following. Now, obviously, I won't go into depth, but I promise you these are the things that will upset people. The things about safety that the so-called hypnosis trainers out there aren't teaching because they haven't got a fucking clue. The things about safety that even the safety courses aren't teaching. Justin James's Safe on Stage, his only use really was to get the insurance at the time. In terms of health and safety training, it's not fit for purpose. It doesn't even scrape 1% of what is taught in a thing called the transparency template, which we'll go into at the Performing Hypnosis Summit. I'm going to be explaining why anybody who ever chooses to hypnotize anyone under the age of 16. Now, in England, it's actually under the age of 18. But I know that law doesn't apply in other places in the world. But I'm not on about the law here. I'm on about morals and ethics and actually knowing what you're on about. If you choose to hypnotize anyone under the age of 16, you deserve everything that's coming to you and will happen sooner or later, guaranteed, within the next several years, the way the legal landscape's going. The fact is, anyone who does, and that will upset all the high school hypnotists, I know, but hey, go and get some talent or actually make an effort to go and do shows not for kids. The fact is, you don't know what the fuck you're doing. If either that or you are willingly, of your own free will, choosing to hypnotize kids under the age of 16, in which case that makes you incompetent and borderline, arguably in some territories in the world, criminally negligent. The fact of the matter is, there is more than enough evidence out there that as human beings, the critical faculty analytical area, as actual psychologists would call it, which is what courts would rely on the evidence of more, I'm having a mental block now. This is brain fog. Critical faculty analytical area. It'll come back to me in a minute. The psychologist actual term for it is not fully formed until, generally they say, puberty going on for 16. For some people it's later, for some it's earlier. But you have to be legal matters.
I don't even think my critical faculty is fully formed yet. So it's weird. I mean,
executive function. That is the phrase that psychologists use and they would use in legal parlance. Executive function. Now here's the thing. When the executive function, which is already legal cases galore around the world, some involving hypnosis, which most people don't know about, the majority just involving psychiatric cases or psychiatric cases or counselling cases, it's been established that the executive function is not fully formed until, in general, around 16 to 18. Some people earlier, some later, but you've got to go off what is accepted generally in law in most places, right? Now, on that basis and the weight of evidence available, the fact of the matter is anyone with a half-decent solicitor would win their case against a stage hypnotist, hands down, especially if they were hypnotizing somebody under the age of 16. If that person then claimed that it had caused them any form of psychological or emotional damage or harm, which you, as the stage hypnotist, the majority of people watching this or watch the talk at the Performing Hypnosis Summit, wouldn't have a fucking clue because the person who taught you, unless you were taught by me, of course, probably didn't have a fucking clue what they were talking about either. It just, again, I know it sounds egotistical or arrogant, but the fact is there's a reason why I have actually taught more of the people who are actually headlining Royal Caribbean cruise line ships, 5-star cruise ships, filling theatres around the world and doing TV shows than any other living stage hypnosis trainer on the planet today. Notice the key word there is living. Okay, because I don't know exactly how many people Gil Boyne and Norman McGill taught, but I suspect it's just slightly more than me at the moment because they were considerably older. It's dangerous. More stage hypnotists doing shows in America that are doing high school shows, put them out of business, I say. And that will upset them. Now go into that.
It is an interesting point. I mean, but it's you know, as a Brit and working the British audiences, you know,
it's just illegal here, simple
exactly,
as.
yeah. So we've done it our way for years, sort of thing. And I always found it really strange in the US
it's illegal.
How the US do things very differently, if you know what I mean. And like the fact that they do have them in high schools for me was very unusual, if you know what I mean.
But here's the thing: just because there isn't a 1952 Hypnotism Act in America, and incidentally, we've only got a 1952 Hypnotism Act in England, thanks to a guy called Peter Casson, who's no longer with us. Yeah. Because he managed to save in 1951 stage hypnosis from being banned in England, and if it had been banned here completely, you can guarantee that in time it would have got banned in America and other places in the world, because America quite often follow what happens in England with laws. It happens regularly. And the thing is, the irony of it is, it was an American stage hypnotist, Ralph Slater, who came to England, was negligent and incompetent and didn't wake people up fully after the show. And a woman ended up suicidal with depression. And it almost very nearly got completely banned. That's the law was to save it. And there's so many people go, oh, it's a ball ache, it's a ball ache. You know what? I don't believe the 1952 Hypnotism Act is actually strong enough in terms of the rules that you have to abide by. I believe that rules stronger than it should be enforced, and that if enough fuss was made, so that, and it will happen at some point, because it's only a matter of time before these witch hunts, I'm going to call it witch hunts, but in the 50s it was a real valid thing, happen every so often, because you know, in the late 1993, for example, a lady died 6 hours after participating in a stage hypnosis show, and her mother, Sharon, the lady was called Sharon Taban, and her mother, Margaret Harper, set up the campaign against stage hypnotists.
Which I always thought was quite funny that it spells cash.
Many people made that observation on television chat shows at the time, but that was set when it lobbied Parliament to get stage hypnosis banned, and Parliament in England actually did do a full investigation. Now they concluded that Sharon Taban did not die through anything connected to hypnosis. Fair enough. However, they did do a whole review of the hypnotism laws, and they did bring in some additional rules, safety rules, that had to be attached to licenses being granted. So the 1952 Hypnotism Act was arguably expanded, but I still don't think it's expanded enough. My point is this, law. You get too many people in America, Europe, other places in the world who go, aha, we don't have a 1952 Hypnotism Act. It's okay, we can do what we want. Unless you're in like Israel, where it's completely banned, or you know, some other places where it's banned, or in fact, you know, Sweden. Technically, you know, Sweden, you have to get a permission from the government there before you can do hypnosis shows, or even if it's on television, like I, you know, did filming out there a couple of years back. The thing is, you do have laws to abide by. People don't seem to realise, and that is, and here's a prediction I'll make: the majority of stage hypnotists who see this have probably never read the small print of their insurance policy word for word. I bet 99%, if not 100% of them, have not read the small print of their insurance policy. And let me tell you, the majority of stage hypnotists, within certainly the American ones that are hypnotizing kids, even though it's not against the law to hypnotize the kids because there's no age restriction thing, will arguably be already invalidating your insurance, so that if ever you got a claim against you that was true or fabricated, it matters little. You need the insurance to defend yourself, because otherwise it'd bankrupt most people, right? That in the small print on pretty much every policy I've ever seen, and I am the sad bastard who reads them, it will state that you must have abided by all relevant laws where you are performing or carrying out your professional activity that insurance policy relates to. That in itself means, and often will be further clarified with further text, but sometimes it's just left as a sort of sentence like that. But it can be elaborated on to also say that therefore this means that you must be abiding by all duty of care and health and safety relevant regulations or laws as may exist or reasonably be expected of a professional carrying out that type of activity. And I would argue, as could any good lawyer, I'm sure, that if you were supposed to be trained properly in what you're doing, because if you're not trained properly in what you're doing and you don't have a full understanding of what you're doing and how it works, then arguably you can be shown to be incompetent. Thus, you've invalidated your insurance policy there straight away. Okay? That if you do know what you're doing, you should know that hypnotizing people under the age of 16 is potentially highly emotionally and psychologically damaging for them in the long term. But it's not something that you could possibly observe the effect of after the show, even if you hung around for an hour or two, because what the harm is with the executive function not being fully formed is that the individual who's, yes, volunteered to take part, has willingly taken part, looks as though they're having a great time, and is giving off all the signals that they're happy to continue taking part. So as far as you're concerned, you're observing, everything's fine. For all you know, in here, unbeknownst to you, even unbeknownst to them, because their executive function isn't fully formed, something could just niggle, or it could get to a point where before it was they're the star of the show, and they realise you framed it as you're laughing with them, not at them, which is complete bullshit anyway, as we know. But we frame it that way so that the people on stage feel better. But bollocks, if you're not laughing at them, what's the fucking point of the show? Stage hypnosis is the most crappiest form of entertainment on the planet, as far as I'm concerned. And yes, I'm saying that as someone who's living an above average one for well over 34, 35 years from stage.
Well, I mean, I'll agree and disagree with you. That's one of the things that, like, why the kind of something was put about. Stage hypnosis, I think, can be some of the best forms of entertainment, but there's a lot of people out there that aren't
these days. No, you know what? These days,
what I mean.
Stage hypnosis won't exist 10 years from now.
Yeah.
I predicted about 5 years ago, 5-6 years ago on one of our shows that within 20 years, stage hypnosis will not be a viable business. We're 5-6 years on, and I'm not saying 14 years anymore. I'm saying 10 years probably. Because the fact of the matter is, it's bollocks. Yes, you are. You are messing with people's heads.
Yeah,
and especially if you're hypnotizing kids, you shouldn't be. You're dangerous.
Well, I think the majority of stage hypnosis is it is a light form of entertainment. I do think vents now are very much back in favour and very popular. But I think stage hypnosis, performance hypnosis, are very much, especially in the UK, we're at the fringe of entertainment. You know, we are. I
think worldwide, stage hypnosis will die out within about a decade, purely because of the way social media is going, and you're getting more and more influencers and pranksters who are not using. I'm not on about the people who are passing themselves off as street hypnotists or whatever, and 99% of them are a bunch of fucking egotistical pricks who've got all the hypnotic talent of a monkey and attention to health and safety. The fucking idiots put the videos on the internet that give all the evidence that they're not abiding by health and safety or duty of care. Idiots. Don't stand near the sidewalk. Where if the person
Yeah.
does want to be an attention-seeking fuckwit and become a sleeper, attention-seeking fuckwit, I call them, they're going to fall in the road. You don't know if at that moment, complete bullshit, but there's more and more without hypnosis being involved, extreme entertainment on television, the internet and stuff, that it's no longer impressive seeing people. It really isn't. It's not impressive seeing people 1 minute they're this and the next minute they're Elvis. People might sit there and have a bit of a giggle, but I tell you what, as the years go on, 10 years from now, seriously, train. If you're not already trained as a clinical hypnotherapist, train up as that.
Yeah.
Hypnosiscourse.com. Go there.
I will say as well.
I'll find something else to do.
One thing. Let me just say this as well before we let you go. You know, I've known Alex a very long time as well. Alex is guaranteed to deliver lots of value as well. It's going to be controversial, his talk, but do go and listen to it, because he's one of the most knowledgeable people when it comes to state hypnosis.
I'll stop you getting your arse sued. I'll stop you invalidating your insurance. I'll make sure you don't harm anyone physically, emotionally, psychologically, spiritually, or on any other level. And what I will also show you during that hour and 15 minutes, thanks to the footage that's available, is how to deal with the media. There is nobody on this planet who has had more perceptively controversial or negative media coverage than me. You will learn the truth about that, because there is a reason why I was able to buy my own property outright before the age of 30. To put that in perspective, I'm 48 now, 49 this year. I walked in literally with the cliched briefcase of cash and went, there you go, there's the money. They had to close the travel agents and estate agent even, and count it up. Hypnosis has made me shitloads of money. So it may sound ridiculous and hypocritical for me to be saying, shouldn't be doing this, you shouldn't be doing that, especially when, because part of the thing, you know, International Stage Hypnosis Association, or whatever the frick they're called, they recently jumped on the, we recommend nobody does full body catalepsy anymore, which isn't fucking hypnosis anyway.
No, but I will say, and it's obviously, you know, I have connections there, but it's there is lots.